Hello and welcome to the Marketing Woman podcast. I'm your host, Anusha Khannan, and I'm so excited to have you here. Are you looking to move into marketing or want to learn marketing from scratch? We discuss all things marketing, analytics, business, personal branding, and much more in a way any layman can understand. If you're new here, make sure to follow along and get on that email list by visiting tmw.anushakhannan.com. And now, let's dive in.
Before we get into this week's episode, I want to talk about what I've been up to these past couple of weeks. So generally before a year ends, what I do is go back and read the books that I've read before. And this year I have picked 4 books. The first book is Atomic Habits by James Clear. The second book is Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. The third one is Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And the fourth one is The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. Atomic Habits by James Clear is actually a very transformative book, and it talks about science of habits and how tiny changes can lead to remarkable results. And it has practical strategies for building and breaking habits, which is one of my favorite topics of all time. And I think it's something that I will always go back to. The second thing is Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. If you don't know him, he's an entrepreneur and a marketer. And in his book, he shares a lot of success stories of individuals who have turned their passions into businesses using social media and digital platforms. He also has actionable advice on personal branding and leveraging technology to achieve personal and financial fulfillment. The third book is Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, which is actually one of the first books that my father asked me to read. And it is a classic self-help book focused on time management and productivity. The title is actually a metaphor for tackling the most important and challenging tasks first each day. The author provides very practical techniques and tips to help you prioritize your work and minimize procrastination and boost efficiency everywhere, in whatever task you may do. It really helps you figure out okay, if I have 5 tasks, which one of these tasks am I going to do first? And I would say it's like a guide for me. The fourth one is The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. If you don't know who he is, he's an amazing entrepreneur. He's an angel investor. This book was actually written by Eric Jorgensen. It's filled with profound thoughts on wealth, happiness, and success. And it covers everything. It covers entrepreneurship, investing, personal growth. It shows you principles and philosophies that have guided Ravikant's remarkable career and life. It's definitely worth a reread as well for me, especially for me. It's one of my favorite books to reread. I always go back to this book and it's my absolute favorite. But that's what I've been up to these past couple of weeks. I think until December, this is going to be my focus, just going back into lessons that I've learned and seeing how I can implement them next year. But with that, let's jump into today's episode. In today's episode, we're going to talk about customer-centric marketing, and we're going to understand customer journey. We've talked a lot about customer-led growth and customer centricity, customer experience, and I thought it would make sense to have this as a topic. Think about your most favorite brand or product and think about how you found out about them, how you became their loyal customer. That is customer journey mapping. It is a process of visualizing and understanding the path the customer takes from their first point of contact with your brand to the moment they become a loyal advocate. Essentially, what you're doing here is creating a roadmap of your customer's experience. So let's say that I find a new coffee brand. I'm a coffee person. I love coffee. Let's say that I find a new coffee brand. The first touch point is, how am I finding them? So do I Google them? Is that how I'm finding out? Or am I getting to know about this brand through someone else? Is it word of mouth? So there are multiple points of contact that you can see. From there until where do they look you up? How did they learn about you? Do they do a product tasting or product testing? It could be a number of things, right? Depending on what the product is, the stages could be very different. But it's important to create a roadmap of your customer's experience so you know where you can help them out. Let's go a little deeper into that. We're trying to understand your customer's behaviors, needs, and pain points. That way you can actually tailor your marketing efforts to provide a seamless and satisfying experience, which in turn obviously leads to happier customers and increased loyalty. We have a couple of steps here. Step 1 is identifying personas. When you get started, you need to know who your customers are. What are their demographics, interests, and pain points? Creating detailed customer personas help you understand your audience on a personal level. The second step is touch point. They could have found you through your website or social media, email, or word of mouth. Get a list of all of those and get a complete picture of your customer's journey so you can understand where the majority of your audience is coming from. Is it through word of mouth, or people just talking about your brand, or is it through social media? Is it your ad? The third step is customer actions. What are your customers doing at each touch point? Are they just browsing your website, signing up for your newsletter, or are they making a purchase? Knowing their actions help you gauge their level of interest and engagement. If you remember the conversational marketing episode and the neuroscience marketing episode, we talked about this. What exactly are they doing on your website? Understanding that can actually help you help them. Help me help you, right? Help me help you. And knowing their actions help you help them. And you also understand and their perception of your brand, your products. What are they expecting when they come in, and what are they getting? How can we meet you in the middle? How can we serve you? How can we give you what you want? But also being mindful about how does this help the business. In step 4, look at the customer's emotions at each touch point. What emotions are your customers experiencing? They could be excited about your product. They could be excited about your brand, or they could be frustrated, or they can just be confused. What are the pain points and opportunities? That's step 5. Identifying pain points and opportunities, and what frustrations do customers encounter along their journey? What are the pain points? Or you could also see the opportunities that exist for your customers. You need A, B, C, and I can give you A and B, but C, not really possible. Is that okay with them? Or is there something else that you can provide that might be beneficial to them? The second last step that you do here is you connect the dots. With all this information, you can actually create a visual representation of the customer journey. And it could be like a flow chart. There are so many. I will link some really good customer journey mapping in the description, which you can use as template. Visualizing the customer journey really helps you see the complete picture of okay, so this is how they found out about my brand or product. This is what they did the moment they found out. This is where they lost interest or they gained interest. This is what they wanted to do next, but they didn't do it. They expected this from us, but we didn't do that. And this was the result of that. Or they had multiple touch points. Imagine you're going to buy a house. You're not just going to go to one place, tour it, and then say, hey, you know what, take the check, I'm going to get this place. You're obviously not going to do that. You're going to tour some more places. You're going to do your research. You're going to look at so much more than just the financial aspect. The same thing with almost everything else, right? There are multiple touch points. Getting the whole picture as a business will help you help your customers. Customer journey is definitely not static, and people can change all the time. People will change all the time. When we didn't have social media, it was all about newspaper ads and direct mails. But now that we have social media, the way that people find out about you, the way they do research has changed so much. You have to regularly refine your customer journey. You have to stay aligned with changing customer needs and market dynamics. Remember this, micro movements lead to a macro conversion. Think about this. You have different clusters. You have different type of customers. And this is what we talked about in the first episode. One of the first episodes, we talked about customer segmentation and targeting. That's essentially what you're doing here. But you need to understand, you need to segment them. You're creating clusters of customers, and you're saying cluster 1, they're only interested in coffee stuff. Cluster 2, they're only interested in candy stuff. And cluster 3, they're only interested in fruits. So understanding what they need and what their pain points are will help you create better marketing strategies. And also, for example, if I go on Amazon and I abandon the cart, this is such a big concept, right? Abandoning cart. You need to understand why people are not converting. Why is that transaction not happening? What is stopping there? Because yes, it may look like a micro moment, oh, they added stuff to their cart, maybe they'll purchase tomorrow. Maybe they will, but maybe they will not. What if they don't? You're losing conversion there. So understanding why your customer is not converting, what your customer needs, how can you help them, and being customer focused will help them as well as your business. This is just the foundation of understanding customer journey map. There's so much more into this, and I will definitely go in detail later, but this is a foundation of customer journey mapping. Once again, I will definitely link a few examples in the description, so go ahead and check it out. If you have any feedback, if you have any ideas, any content that you want me to cover, reach out to me on LinkedIn or go to my website, tmw.anshakhanna.com. We have a feedback form there. You can fill it up. You can request guests to bring on the show. And let me know if this is helpful, because I want to create more episodes that are helpful for people. If you think this is too basic, we want more content that is geared towards like really intermediate marketing content, I would love to create that too.
That's all for today. Hope you found it useful. Please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or email me at tmw@anushakanan.com. Follow me on LinkedIn to never miss my journey, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.